the final Week 1 matchup as the Pittsburgh Riverhawks travel into Lexington to take on the Miners. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike O'Neill. Alongside me in the booth is former SFLM broadcaster of the season, DJ Kilgannon. DJ, always great to be with you today, brother. These are two teams that didn't quite unlock their potential last season, but there seems to be a lot of optimism with these groups. What should we expect from today?
Yeah, Mike, it's great to be with you as always. And, I think it's going to be a tale to see if Lexington can come back from changes in their backfield, especially. The upbringing of Ian Francis replacing Phoenix Jones is going to be a bright spot to see in their offense, as well as the new pieces coming into Pittsburgh. It's just a battle of new guys tonight, I think.
Absolutely. As we get ready to kick things off, you'll notice the convention cam at the top corner of the screen. Let's make some noise, everybody, for the last game of the convention here in Baltimore. As it looks like we are going to be kicking things off here as Lexington gets ready to take the kickoff here at home in front of the home crowd for season 25 kicking off. And here we go. This is going to be returned from about the 5-yard line all the way down, taken down by the 25-yard line. So we're going to see this quarterback come out here, Kenny Slider, all right? And DJ, what are you feeling about this offense when we look at it? There's been some changes in the backfield, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Kenny Slider, he's a younger guy in this league, and he has some tremendous pieces around him on offense. Alexander West, Gabriel Manning, one of the best to ever do it. DJ Bandit and Chris Althair, also great tight ends.
Twins look. Slider under center, he's gonna snap it, he's gonna go play action first, has some pressure in the backfield, checks it out to the left side, and that's blown up for a 2-yard loss. Really good play out there by the defense of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, looked like a lot of pressure up front from Pittsburgh. The play action, really bit into the pressure.
And we're going to see Slider take the snap here. 2nd and 12, goes down deep, and we're going to get our first flag already downfield. This is going to be a pass interference, DJ.
Yeah, it looked like Ness Genkel got a little too physical on that seam route up the middle. You can't do that.
Absolutely. Number 24 there, and you're going to see as we're going to get a replay here, trying to feed the ball to Gabriel Manning, which is not a bad idea to start the game off. Right, but just a little too physical, and let's be honest, DJ, he didn't have his head turned around.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw the double team kind of shifting from the top on that left side to kind of help with Manning. You didn't need much contact there. The coverage was good.
Absolutely. So we got a first down, a free first down, as they would call it here for Lexington, and they've got to make some noise, right? There's a lot of pressure on this backfield. We saw a little bit of a slump after losing Phoenix Jones last season, and they're going pass heavy, and again, 2 DPIs in a row. DJ, you don't want to start this out like this if you're Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and that's Ness Genkel again, just getting a little too physical, a little too angsty. Coming into the week 1, it's easy to let that happen. You just kind of let those nerves calm yourself.
As we get ready to, let's go ahead and announce the Lexington offense. Quarterbacks Kenny Slider, halfbacks are Deion James and Ian Francis. Wide receivers are Alexander West, Gabriel Manning, and Marquise Sango. Tight ends are DJ Bandit and Chris Althair. And we'll get to the offensive line after the snap. 1st and 10 here. Slider going to hand it off up the middle, and how about a good run up the middle from Deion James? That was one of the big questions we talked about. Deion James, Ian Francis, can they carry the workload? DJ, what do you think about that first run there?
Very promising so far. The box looked pretty heavy. Looked like there were a lot of bodies there to try and make a stop. He didn't get touched until the safety came over the top and had to assist.
And we're going to continue on with this offense. The tackles are Ricky LaFleur, Donnie Treverson, and Oliver Terrasses. They're going to get a run out to the left side, and a first down just like that by Ian Francis. We talked about that tandem. Let's go with the guards here. Zena West and Phoebe Collins, and Jasmine Swift is the center. So we'll get to Pittsburgh's defense in a second. Some good announcements coming from that front earlier today as Kenny Slider goes in a split spread look here. 3 wide receivers, 2 backs, hands it off up the middle, has good room up the A-gap. Deion James, so far, looking really good, DJ.
Yeah, Monte Dubois-Smith on the tackle there. He was your SFLM Season 11 Defensive Player of the Season. I can only imagine he's going to be a huge impact on this Pittsburgh defense, playing especially in that box, helping the run.
Absolutely. They're high on him, and I know that you're high. You're a big fan of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what this Pittsburgh's defense can do on 2nd and 3 here. Kenny Slider got this offense rolling. They're going to toss it out to the left side with a nice stiff arm. Down, taking it down for the first down is Ian Francis, and 4 runs, DJ, that we have seen great positive change here. You see the stiff arm on number 44 there. Doug Day, who just came over.
Yep.
Speaking of which, we're going to announce this defense, but how about the announcement earlier of Doug Day being promoted to assistant general manager and player development over there? So congratulations, Doug Day.
Absolutely.
Over there in Pittsburgh. As we get ready for this 1st and 10 here. Kenny Slider, Twins look. They're liking these Twins look early on. As they go downfield, oh, nice inside leverage. Putting it up there. Chris out there, we know he's lethal downfield. What'd you think about that one, DJ?
Yeah, you got the tight end running the seam route up the middle, and it's all about just if your linebacker can keep up with him running up the middle. You know, he kind of gets on the outside, tries to shift back in to get in front of it and make the play, and by that time, it's too late. He's already playing from behind.
Excellent job offensively for this Lexington unit, and this is, we talked about, can the run do enough to open up for Manning, West, and all of these air threats that they have? As Slider, one-handed catch in the end zone. DJ Bandit, put some mustard on your name.
Bandit stealing the touchdown there, a real crisp one-handed catch. No one was within 5 yards of him. Looked like they brought so much pressure up front in the middle. Only player closest to him was Monte Dubois-Smith playing the nickel corner spot, and he wasn't even close.
I got to tell you, DJ, in my day, a catch like that would warrant you 5 laps, right? Because nobody wants a showboater, but DJ Bandit really putting on a clinic here. And how the Lexington offense really just answered a lot of questions after this offseason, right? A lot of people said, well, after they lost Phoenix Jones, they weren't really able to find their rhythm and really keep things going, but proving a lot of people wrong on the opening drive here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think it really amounts to how much they kind of struggled at the end of last season. You know, we had talked to Eddie Gates before about how they were contending for a playoff spot. They lost him, and everything kind of just went downhill, but they've had plenty of time to adjust to that. Welcome in their new back. We saw 5'10" Ian Francis stiff-arming people into the dirt. I mean, clearly they're adjusting quite well.
Absolutely. As Pittsburgh is getting ready to bring back, and there's the newly acquired Doug Britton coming over. And he's surely going to add a lot to this locker room, and really excited to see what Pittsburgh does offensively here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talk about weapons, you know, for Lexington. You got Ziggy Chronic for Pittsburgh and bringing in Doug Britton. He's a huge talent as well. I mean, they're loaded on that side of the ball as well.
Yeah, Ziggy Chronic had a great season last season. And he was one of those I feel like that wasn't talked about enough. Yeah. And we'll see what they do here as we get ready to see quarterback Ace Finnick under center for the first time in season 25. These Pittsburgh fans are hyped right now. 1st and 10, split Twins look. As they're going to toss out to the left side, and that could have been really bad, DJ. But it's only a loss of 2.
Yeah, it could have been much worse, like you said. I mean, they had, 5 down on the line. They had 2 stood up on the outside edges of the offensive line, and he was there before the runner was on the pitch. And unfortunately for him, it just got right by him.
And the crowd is loud right now in Lexington. As Ace Finnick getting ready to snap. He's got 2 wide receivers, a fullback and a running back in the backfield. Fires down. What a nice corner out there. Getting it out to Ziggy Chronic. We were just talking about him, and 1st down, moving the chains for the Riverhawks. Yeah, and Ziggy Chronic, a guy that was talked about for, a huge breakout last season. And you see the fault in coverage there. You have a guy running an out route, just a shallow little flat to draw the corner lower into the formation so you can attack him above. And the safety over the top is just not going to have enough time to get down and make a play. 1st and 10 here. A trend so far. They really like these 2 wide receiver sets. Going across the middle, and nice job to put Britton where they did. Across the middle, picking up that first down, or near, 2nd and 1, as they're going to call him a little short. Yeah, and Lexington, they're putting their linebackers in the box a little bit more shallow than you normally see. Here they're backing them up a little bit. Let's see if that'll help protect over the top in the middle. So 2nd and 1, Pittsburgh wants to move the chains, and they do. Handing it off to Mike Churchill, former wide receiver, converting over to running back, and really moving the chains here for Pittsburgh. Let's go over this Pittsburgh offense here. Quarterback is going to be Ace Finnick. Halfbacks are Mike Churchill and BB Belitz. The fullback is Keith Wheeler. The wide receivers are Deuce Finnick, Ziggy Chronic, and Doug Britton. Tight ends are Ben Harrison and Levy Lease. Tackles are Landon Stone and Taylor Minner, and guards are Rachel Minner and Bruce White. They're going to roll out to the right side. Ace Fennick trying to get it to his receiver, just a little off from connecting with Ziggy Ronick.
Yeah, you know, and I'm a little bit surprised Pittsburgh is going so heavily into the pass game. They have two very capable backs. Mike Churchill, who had a great season last season. BB Belitz was first in the league with rushing touchdowns last season.
Yeah, interesting speculation there, DJ. We'll see what they decide to do here on 2nd and 10. Obviously, a passing down, you would think. And they're going to go run up the middle. And what about the spacing? You were just talking about the run game, and I think they heard you from the field because they dialed it up right there.
They just might have. Didn't get touched until the free safety, Cameron Shaw came over from his coverage on the side to make a play. And if it wasn't for him, Mike Churchill would have had a lot more green to run.
All right, break it down. Let's go introduce these Lexington Miners defensively. Defensive ends are Chris Andrews and R.C. Puff and Berta Demora. Defensive tackles are Mike Mella, Brenda Puff, and Jaden Swift. Inside linebackers, Philadelphia Collins. Outside linebackers are Iggy Turner and Tony Roberto. So we get ready to go over this next play. And down the field, how about the connection from Ace Fennick to Ziggy Ronick early on in this game, threading the needle in double coverage.
Threading the needle is right. That had to be a perfect throw. We're going to get a better look at it here. The offensive line giving great protection and right through two defenders. Cameron Shaw could have had a huge play for the defense, but just not able to.
I'm not convinced, DJ, that Cameron Shaw still didn't think he had the ball after that play.
Yeah, it was close.
1st and goal here. Let's see if Pittsburgh can answer the call back against Lexington here. They're going to go play action rollout, have some pressure into the back of the end zone, and trying to connect with Ronick and just can't. A little overthrown there. What are you dialing up here on 2nd and goal?
You know, they're going with a lot of play action early, which I think is great because we talked about how fantastic that run game is, especially in the red zone. They're one of the most converting red zone teams in the league last season. Top 2. They were 2nd in the league in red zone percentage.
Unbelievable. 2nd and goal here. They're going to go play action again. Have some pressure. What about the one-handed grab in the back of the end zone? And that was Deuce Fennick, the ace-to-deuce connection, long known in the SFL, is still alive and well. Pittsburgh is on the board.
Deuce Fennick coming back, his first season in Pittsburgh, and what a way to start it in week 1. Cameron Shaw playing tight coverage again. We've seen that story several times of him playing very good coverage. The receivers just making tremendous plays. Again, we see one there, one-handed in the back of the end zone. It doesn't get much better than that.
So, really quick drive here for Lexington, really quick drive for Pittsburgh. Both of these teams seem to be locked in, DJ, offensively, right? These are two teams that, again, like we talked about in pregame, they didn't really live up to the expectations of themselves last season. And this season, it kind of feels like, out the start of the gate, they have some identities figured out here, right?
Absolutely. We saw it on that last drive. Pittsburgh going with a lot of play action like we talked about. Lexington kind of relying on their run game, which was, some speculation behind that to see if it could help open up their pass game. So far, both of these teams proving that they can do what people thought they couldn't.
Absolutely. So we're going to introduce this Pittsburgh defense here. Defensive ends are Odette Boudreau and Butch Minner. Defensive tackles Bubba Bruiser. Inside linebackers Tommy Welbach-Bussey. Doug Day and Brian Craven. The Bass Bros are back. Outside linebackers alongside Dimitri Monzuma. The corners are Ness Gankel, Jermaine Minifield, and Tom Creek. Free safeties are Todd Rigsby, Corey Minner, and strong safeties are Monte Dubois-Smith and Kane Vasquez as we see a nice run up the left side for Deion James. And this offense for Lexington, I got to tell you, they're getting some really great run lanes.
They absolutely are. The offensive line is playing phenomenal. They're one of the few teams in the league that have a full offensive line. And right now, it's really, really showing they're getting so much room to run.
2nd and 2, slider tossing it out to the right side. Nice block on the outside from the receiver. And great pickup there for Ian Francis.
Yeah, Kane Vasquez, one of their captains on defense, getting involved on that tackle. Not still able to get the first down, but not for much.
So a fresh set of downs for Lexington, and this home team right now, this home crowd is loving what this home team is doing offensively. You got Gabriel Manning going in motion from the left to the right. as Kenny Slider awaits the snap here. He's got 3 wide receivers and a back in the backfield. He is going to hand it off. Gets a nice push off the guard, but can't seem to find anywhere. That's a really good play by number 31, Rigsby, coming in for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Todd Rigsby was pretty good in the run game last season. Accumulated 62 tackles, 5 tackles for loss. He was, a box guy that can kind of play down when you need him to, help with the run, play in those gaps. And right there, we saw a great example of it.
So 2nd and 10 here. Slider back to throw, gets a nice out route. How about Gabriel Manning with the separation on the out route there?
Yeah, and that's Ness Genkel going up against Manning. He had the 2 PIs previously. Starting to look like that's getting cleaned up. Knock on some wood, but so far looking a lot better.
And I got to tell you, DJ, I don't know. When you think about Pittsburgh, you think about a tough, physical town, right? Yeah. So Ness Genkel getting those 2 DPIs early is kind of...
sends a message.
It sends a message for this Pittsburgh defense. As we get a nice one. A spin move by Deion James, taking it up the middle, getting the first down. Deion James putting on a clinic right now in the run game.
Putting those defenders in a blender. Spins off one of the linebackers to just find a lot more room, and thankfully for them, Amonte Dubois-Smith able to chase him down and make that tackle.
First and 10 here. Kenny Slider under center as they're going to hand off again up the middle. This time plugged away. Number 32 comes in and makes the tackle. That's Monte Dubois-Smith. That's that rookie you're high on.
Yep. I had a chance to talk to him a little bit before the game, and he talked about how his main role is going to be inside the box, playing in a nickel corner role, not really helping as much as the pass as he will the run.
All right, Slider rolling out to the right side, looking downfield, and takes a hit, but holds on to the football. How about Alexander Wesson? We've got, wow. This is roughing.
Oh, wow.
How often do we see that? 96
Not
coming
there.
in. All right, I wonder if we're going to get a replay on this, DJ.
I would like to see a replay.
Oh, yeah. 96 on the ground, gets back up, and there seems to be a little bit of a little bit of a rivalry here.
They call him Bubba Bruiser for a reason.
Wow, Bubba Bruiser starting the Pennsylvania showdown off with a little bit of heat in the backfield. Slider back deep. What about the pass? Kenny Slider to Chris out there, and he has proven to be a vertical tight end.
Absolutely, and I love getting the tight ends involved earlier. I'm sure Mike Daggs is somewhere ecstatic. 2 tight end touchdowns early in this one. You got DJ Bandit and Chris Health there, getting 7 for each of them.
Oh, man, and they're just, you got to see the play. He's getting linebackers in coverage, man on man, and leading him inside. That's a veteran throw from a veteran quarterback, DJ.
And you go back to that DJ Bandit touchdown, Mike. It was the same exact coverage with the same exact linebacker, the same exact route. Running right up the seam. He plays on the outside, tries to get back inside. By then, it's too late.
The question is, does Pittsburgh start to understand what's going on here? Now that's 2 touchdowns as the extra point is good there by Takeda Yuki. And does Pittsburgh see this and start to change things up, right? That's 2 times they've been caught sleeping in man coverage, right? And been Kenny Slider's throwing dimes, inside leverage on just seam routes and that's really hurting him right now. Do you think that they kind of analyze that and change things up?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's Dimitri Monzuma playing in that spot, trying to cover those tight ends and those man coverage in the red zone. He's one of their captains. He can learn, he can adjust, he can make some good plays defensively. And especially with the coaching they have over there, I only expect it to improve in the coverage.
So we get a look at Doug Britton, a long time kick returner that has been great in this league for a long time. Gets
Absolutely.
it out to the 28. That's where we're going to see Ace Finnick take over. We saw the touchdown from Ace to Deuce earlier. We know he's had a great connection with Ziggy Ronick. We've seen a little bit of Churchill and Blitz, a little bit of Keith Wheeler, a little bit of everything from this offense. Let's see what they do here. I spread on 1st and 10. They're going to hand it off to the right side. Breaks a tackle, but that is broken. Coming down to make the tackles, number 49. And that's going to be Travis Arthur, free safety here for Lexington, as we're going to continue on. 2nd and 10. Pittsburgh going with a little bit of tempo here in between plays. Ace Finnick getting ready to snap. He's got 2 backs in the backfield. A nice run up the middle. What about the rushing lanes? Good job there by BB Blitz right up the middle.
Yeah, and you look at the defense Lexington had prepared for that play. They had so many people pushed up into the box. They had 6 or 7 in the box ready for the run. And Pittsburgh just executed it to perfection, running to the weak part in that defense.
Handoff up the middle again. Nice run up the middle. Now, I believe that was Churchill on that one, picking up the first down. And so far, the amount of balance we've seen from both of these offenses is very pleasant.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. You know, and we saw a lot of play action. We saw Pittsburgh relying on the pass a little bit more. Clearly, we see now that they are not scared to run the ball in the slightest. They know they have a great run game.
So 14-7 Pittsburgh down. They are going to drop some coverage back. It looks like they're backing off a little bit. They've got an odd front shown here. Ace Finnick, 3 wide receivers on the field. They hand off up the middle. BB Blitz is going to get 6 on that, and that's a really good run up the middle.
Yeah, I mean, it's just dominance from the offensive line. You know, the holes aren't too big in the offensive line every time, but they're finding plenty of room. They're able to squeeze through the gaps that are made by the offensive line and get plenty of room to run.
As we've reached the end of the first quarter, and we got a good one here. The Pennsylvania Showdown in Season 25 is living up to expectations so far. Lexington on top at home 14-7 right now, but don't look now, but Pittsburgh is driving down, and this offense is clicking in all different types of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
1st and 10 here. Oh, excuse me. Not 1st and 10. As Finnick is going to hand off to the left side. And how about the room here for Churchill picking up a 1st and 10? And now I can say 1st and 10, GJ.
You saw the cut block on that defensive tackle right in the middle. You see him hop over there. The center just diving at the knees of the defensive tackle to completely take him out of the play and just free up a lot of room to run through the middle. And we saw exactly why that's utilized there.
So 1st and 10 here for Ace Finnick as we've got 3 wide receivers. He's got two backs in the backfield, 1 fullback and 1 running back. He's going to send Deuce Finnick in motion from the right to the left. They're going to hand off up the middle, and how about the plug here in the run game from the defense of Lexington, making it a 2nd and long.
Yeah, you know, you motion a man over to the other side and try and get him involved into the blocking game for the run. You know, you just bring more eyes to that side of the field, try to bring another body over, help free up space. And that time, the linebacker help was just there immediately.
Showing some pressure up the middle is Lexington. 2nd and 10, Ace Finnick with split twins look here. He's got 2 receivers out to his right. He's going to fire downfield and nearly picked off. Oh, boy. Travis Arthur nearly had a hand on that one, and that could have been going back the other way for 6.
Absolutely could have. Travis Arthur, we've called his name plenty of times. More often than not, it's helping stopping the run. But that time, really nice pass coverage, able to bat that one down.
So 3rd and 10 here, and we haven't really seen much of these, DJ. The run game's been keeping both these teams ahead of the chains. Bunch look here for Ace Finnick to his left. He's going to roll out to his right. He's got some good time, and how about the open spacing here for Ziggy Ronick? And you got to love that. It's a veteran wide receiver route right there. Knows where the spots are going to be and just finds an empty hole.
Yeah, I mean, just great route running, able to blow past the corner there. You see him in a zone look, so you attack the corner where you know it's in between 2 zones. Your quarterback's good enough to be able to make the throw once he sees you in that space.
Pittsburgh showing great balance on this drive. We're going to get a split twins look again, and Lexington again showing pressure right at the A-gap. Both A-gap. They're going to send a double A-gap blitz, firing downfield. A nice post route there. Deuce Finnick with the grab, and a 1st and goal for Pittsburgh, getting ready to try and tie this thing up.
Yeah, and you know, Lexington, they're doing a nice mix of man and zone defense right now, and it seems every time they run man, their defenders are playing just a little bit behind. It seems like the receivers are just able to get ahead of them a little bit and be able to make the catches just ahead of them.
Yeah, Lexington playing a lot of trail technique, and really those safeties have to come down and make those plays. They've got to crash down and make those plays on that, and that time is really good throw. Perfect timing on that throw. So we're going to see a little bit of an audible on defense here for Lexington. 1st and goal. Can Ace Finnick tie this game up? He's got pressure. Fires out to the left side. Caught. Falling is number 81, Ben Harrison. 2nd and goal.
That is a big man to be making that athletic of a play, Mike. He dives, makes the catch, and that was a risky throw. We saw a defender right in the area, but he threw it where only his guy could get it.
2nd and goal here Crowd getting loud, trying to stop him. Ace Phoenix going to hand off to the right side, breaking it. Douglas Churchill, and he gets shot down. How about number 98 coming in? Tony Roberto, the longtime veteran outside linebacker, putting a stick out there.
Yeah, the former two-time All-Star making a statement there. It is not going to be easy to score.
3rd and goal here. Ace Finnick, hands off up the middle. BB Blitz is stuffed. 4th and goal, DJ. Do you go for it? Do you take the points here?
I think you got to take the points. You know, you're seeing right now, and they will. You're seeing right now how well Lexington is playing against the run. And one thing we mentioned, and we talked about before the call, we talked about a little bit earlier, Pittsburgh is so good in the red zone. BB Blitz leading the league in rushing touchdowns. One of the highest percentage scoring red zone teams in the entire league. That's not often you get to see a stop in the red zone by someone playing Pittsburgh.
A great stop for Lexington there, and the home team is fired up about that as Otis Boudreau knocks the extra point through, and we get ready for the kickoff. Baltimore, let's hear you guys make some noise for the convention, Cam. Come on. I got to tell you guys, those of you watching at home, if you get a chance to come to a convention, please make sure you do. It is a great time. You get to meet a lot of lovely people here, and we have a great time here, and these games this weekend have been very good.
Absolutely.
A little bit of noise for that one on the back end. So 1st and 10 here. Kenny Slider, who's been excellent, DJ, comes out. He's got 3 wide receivers here. He's got a back and a fullback in the backfield, and really, you don't know what they're going to do offensively. They can do a little bit of everything. They're going to toss it out to the right side. How about the blocking? Nice 4-yard pickup there. Great job for Deion James.
And you know one thing, Mike, a lot of people talk about when it comes to quarterbacks is that positive touchdown to interception ratio. Kenny Slider being one of those guys, not many had it. He had a positive touchdown to interception ratio. 19 to 18, not a very big gap. But nonetheless, they're able to, exactly.
Slider going to toss out to the right side, and full head of steam is Ian Francis. And I got to tell you, TJ, that I didn't know how Ian Francis and Deion James were going to look together, right? Phoenix Jones was a big loss at the end of last season. These guys look good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at these guys, they're two polar opposites. You got a bigger bruiser back, then you got Ian Francis, a little bit smaller, but he is running people over.
Yes, he is. Slider taking the snap, fires out to the left side, and how about Gabriel Manning? I'll tell you what, not many receivers can get the separation that Gabriel Manning gets on those tight routes.
Yeah, absolutely not. And, you know, we kind of talked about this matchup previously, and it looks like we're going to see it a lot more. Ness Genkel, a 2-year player coming into the league. Gabriel Manning's been in Lexington / Tulsa for 11 seasons.
Yeah.
He's won an MVP, and he is an 11-time All-Star.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about that decision, putting a 2-year player on someone like Gabriel Manning. We'll see if it pays off.
Absolutely. Well, the run game certainly helps as Deion James breaking through a couple tackles, picking up the 1st down. And I'll tell you what, the new look Miners are looking pretty good.
Absolutely. And, you know, one thing you look at, and you see the block going on to the linebacker that was trying to shoot the gap. If you look at a run and the first person to touch your running back is a safety, you're doing something right.
Absolutely. When that run game is dialed in, it makes everything a lot more difficult.
Absolutely.
It makes everything for a defense very difficult. You become less predictable. 1st and 10, Lexington really looking hot. They're going to send Gabriel Manning in motion. This time, we have number 33, Tom Kriegs, in coverage. This could be a little bit more of a matchup favorable for Pittsburgh, as they're going to hand it off here to Ian Francis. You said it was a little bit smaller of a back, but he's powering through some people here.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got some grit and determination, really trying to solidify this spot his first year in Lexington, trying to, like I said, trying to make his mark coming over from Charleston in the offseason.
So Pittsburgh looking for a defensive stop. 2nd and 4 here. Split pro look as they're going to hand it off up the middle to Deion James, and just shredding the run up the middle is Lexington, and James has really been leading the forefront there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the Riverhawks defense. It is not an easy defense to run against.
Yeah.
You got the Minner up front, you got Bubba Bruiser, you got the Bash brothers reuniting. This is not an easy team to run against, and the offensive line is just putting on a clinic right now, Mike.
Right now, I think the biggest biggest problem for Pittsburgh's defense is that Lexington is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
That slider's going to fire out. It's the separation on the fade ball. How about the catch by number 13? That's Alexander Westman, I believe, his first grab today.
Yeah, the Black Bird getting a nice catching coverage there along the left side. And let's see that one again. Really, really nice coverage there. That's Jermaine Menefield in coverage. And he is no shabby defensive back. Had 16 pass deflections, which is good for first last season.
Alexander West, a really, really good player in this Lexington Miners offense, as they're going to hand it off again to Deion James, picking up 3 yards this time, and I got to say, that might be one of the worst runs of the game so far for Lexington.
And Doug Day getting in there, making the nice tackle, and those are the type of plays you expect to see when you look at this Pittsburgh defense and the matchup they have against these smaller backs.
Absolutely. Pittsburgh, this defense, they're trying to build a culture here, right? So they reunite the Bass Bros. As Slider's rolling out to his left. That's nearly broken up. And we were just talking about the Bass Bros. How about Doug Day
What a play.
with the dreads and all coming up and getting a hand in the passing lane?
Yeah.
They bring back and reunite the Bass Bros, right? A lot of that, I feel like, has got to be for leadership, veteran leadership. These guys have played together for a long time, right? They reunite them in Pittsburgh, embodying this physical nature on defense. They're trying to make it stamp in the league. As we're going to see a shotgun formation here. Gabriel Manning going in motion from left to right. Kenny Slider awaits the snap. Looks like Pittsburgh's bringing some heat, fires downfield, and almost tried to get it to DJ Bennett, but Pittsburgh's defense says no way.
You know, Mike, one thing we talked about after the previous touchdown from Lexington was if Pittsburgh was going to be able to adjust those seams up the middle with the tight ends. Right there, we saw another one going for the same exact set play we've seen previously, and they were able to shut it down. That's already some adjustments we're seeing and a nice way to adapt.
Well, got to think, the way Lexington's offense has been rolling, Takeda Yuki knocking through a three-point field goal here as we're going to make it 17-10, Lexington on top. You got to think, with Lexington's offense being as good as it's been today, that's a big win for Pittsburgh's defense, holding them to 3.
Absolutely.
Now Pittsburgh gets another chance to answer the call here. Just 3 minutes before we enter the half, and very similar, very similar across the board. These two teams are both physical teams, and so far, and the game plan looks very similar for both. They're establishing the run. They're stretching the ball vertically as Doug Britton gets a nice return out to the 30. They're trying to stretch the field vertically. They're running the ball, and the run game's allowing them to do that. I mean, Pittsburgh is really got a chance here to come back and tie this thing up before the half.
Yeah, absolutely. They really do. And especially with how explosive we see them be on offense, they can certainly pass quickly, and they have the capabilities and the talent to be able to go down the field and score with the little time they have.
So we see an odd front here for Lexington. Split twins look here for Finnick as he's going to hand off up the middle, and that's a nice gain on first down for BB Blitz. And again, keeping the chains, staying ahead of the chain, 6 yards.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at these teams, you think Pittsburgh probably going to go with a more heavy running attack. Lexington maybe going to throw the ball a little bit more, and they've kind of flip-flopped that narrative, really.
Absolutely. How about the running lane there for Churchill, getting up the middle, picking up the first down, and I love this, right? You're not in any hurry, right? You're taking the ball downfield. You're trying to really run a methodical offense to take time off the clock and tie this up. You're going into the half tied up if you can stretch down and get a really good drive here, which it seems like they're doing. As we see Finnick under center here for 1st and 10. He's got 2 wide receivers to his left. He's going to hand off again up the middle. This time Blitz going back and forth, and 7 yards on the run there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to continue to turn out the clock and run as well as you are running the ball, why not continue it? If it's going to take 3 or 4 men to bring you down every run, you might as well continue to do it.
As we have reached the 2-minute warning before the half, and I want to point out, go back, I wish we had a replay system we can control here, but Rachel Minner, 72, on that last run, driving the defensive tackle 6 yards back, right? That's the most Pittsburgh thing I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
3 yards to go as Finnick awaits the snap here. He's going to hand it off to Churchill and has enough speed to get those runs. Unbelievable. Really good job by the up front guys and gals for Pittsburgh.
Yep. You got one of the Swift brothers, Marco Swift, getting involved on that tackle after the first down. And now you're past midfield. Maybe the offense switches up as the time goes down.
The 1st and 10 here. I spread look. He's got for the left side. And how about Tony Roberto coming in and putting the hit on Ace Finnick? You got to think that's going to slow him down a little bit.
Absolutely. And it was only a matter of time before that connected. You know, we saw the play action so many times on their first drive where the defensive linemen were just itching and itching, so close to getting a sack. And Tony Roberto, 3.5 last season, getting one early into the season now.
Yeah, unbelievable. He's no stranger to getting in the backfield. He did also have 19 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
Unbelievable player there. And Ace Finnick now has gotten some rumblings on him. He's going to go play action, going right back to the grindstone. And deep ball had the separation, but overthrew him. Doug Britton, the vertical threat here, was wide open, DJ.
I mean, you can't let that happen. And you run with the play action again. Maybe you're a little nervous in the pocket that pressure's coming, but that's a touchdown if you connect, Mike. You have to.
Looking like some combo coverage here from the defense as we're going to get a quads look. Finnick takes the snap, fires, and nearly picked off. Lexington was ready for that one. They've been hitting those out routes all night, and Lexington was prepared for it.
They absolutely had Nate Heslip in there to help make that defensive stop. 16 seasons in the league, all of which with these Lexington Miners / Tulsa Desperados. 4-time All-Star as well.
That's what they call a lifer, DJ.
A lifer.
So we're going to see Lexington get the ball back. As the return gets back to the 16-yard lines. They've got a long field ahead of them, right? But you've got all your timeouts.
Yeah.
You got all your timeouts, and you've got an offense that's been performing really well.
They certainly can do it. You know, with how it was kind of like what we saw from Pittsburgh on the last drive. They've been running the ball a lot, Lexington has, but they certainly have the weapons to pass it downfield and score rather quickly. I mean, you have Gabriel Manning on the edge. When I think of a big play touchdown, he's the first guy that comes to mind. Alex West is able to make those same plays as well. They have plenty of targets they can go to.
So a Twins look here for Kenny Slider, 2 wide receivers to his right. And they're going to go with a run game off the back, and Deion James trying to bounce it out to the outside, but closed out by Amonte Dubois-Smith, ADS they call him in Pittsburgh. Nice run stop there for leaving it to only a yard.
Yeah, it's starting to look like they're just going to let it drain into half. You've got a 7-point lead. Don't try anything too crazy while you're this close to your own end zone. I don't hate the decision. Maybe.
2nd and 9. Kenny Slider going down the field trying to stretch vertically, and how about number 49 coming in? Kane Vasquez coming in and really smacking that ball out. It's a really good play.
Yeah, just making a hard hit on the ball. Now it's 3rd and 9. I think this is really going to dictate what they're going to go for the rest of the drive. Just run it out, try and get as much time off the clock as you can, and even then, does Pittsburgh call a timeout, try and do something on the back end?
So we're going to see a gun formation here. Kenny Slider takes the snap, drops back, fires across. He gets it to his receiver, DJ Bandit, who's trying to muscle his way for a first down, but falls a yard shy, as we're going to get our first timeout here at the half.
Now let's see. Imagine being this close to your end zone. Gotta go. Yep, they're going to go ahead and punt it off. And, Pittsburgh going to call the timeout, save as much time as they can, and try and lessen the damage that they've received in this first half. Try and close the gap going into the second.
How about the hang time? That's a good punt.
It is.
Getting out. The return's going to come up to about the 40. And 2 seconds on the clock. You got to think DJ might just take this one into the half.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. You're far enough downfield that we've seen crazier things happen. I don't think it's worth the risk.
I think that Doug Britton, right, as much of a return threat as Doug Britton is, right, you got to think that there's always a chance he can pop one of those returns back.
Absolutely.
But 2 seconds left. It looks like they're going Hail Mary. Pittsburgh is aggressive. That's an aggressive town.
Yep.
2 seconds left. Ace Finnick getting ready to take the snap, take one shot downfield to try and see if they can make some magic happen. He's going to fire downfield, and it's broken up, and that's going to be the end of the half here in Lexington. And how about the first half? Make some noise out there, Baltimore. live from the Baltimore Convention 2025, the 25th season for the SFL. DJ, give me some thoughts on this first half performance of both teams.
You know, it's been, despite the score, they got 27 points on the board. It's really, really electric going on right now. Both run games are performing well. They're performing very well. Absolutely. The passing games, we see it right there. 8 for 11 for Kenny Slider, only missing 3 passes up to this point. The offensive line playing physical. The defenses, physicality. We saw 2 pass interferences on what? 2 of the first 3 plays?
2 plays, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, you talk about Pittsburgh being a physical team, and so far they've showed out. The Pennsylvania Showdown is living up to expectations. 17-10 right now. This is anybody's ball game, DJ.
Yeah. And you talk about that rivalry. 5 months ago, me and Jacob Clear got to call the first game of the Pennsylvania Showdown all those months ago last season. And it was such a close game. Lexington lost 23-20, and it was a last-second interception in the red zone that gave it up. They were in the red zone. They could have kicked it, took it to overtime, but they threw. They tried to score, and they turned the ball over. I'm curious to see if that same aggression, that same mentality will continue into the second half from last season.
So we're going to see Doug Britton get it out to the 26, and those of you guys just joining us, maybe online, watching this online, we have had a good one here. 17-10 here in Lexington. Lexington and Pittsburgh, both offenses are flowing. Both defenses are playing pretty well, and we've seen a fairly clean game from both sides, and really looking forward to seeing a lot more here as we get 1st and 10. Pittsburgh trying to tie things up here at the start of the third quarter. I spread formation for Ace Finnick as he's going to hand it off to the left side, and move. Lexington dialing into the run game there. That's no game for BB Blitz.
There we go. That's a lot. That's more of what we expected to see from them in the first half. You know, Philadelphia Collins, their inside linebacker, they move him to the edge. That's another lifer guy we have for Lexington. 9 out of 9 seasons. They move him around the edge, and he just completely closes it off, forces him back inside, and he beats another in the gap.
Ben Harrison going off the line, stretching out to the left side as they're going to fire downfield. Ace Finnick finding his receiver. That is number 41, Keith Wheeler, the fullback, getting involved in the pass game. You love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if he's got the hands to do it, why not? And he just runs a little, just an up route, right up the middle of the defense. You know, I imagine not too many people are going to have their eyes on him out there, being the big fullback he is.
Yeah, I'd say so. 6'4", 240 is a big boy.
Yeesh. 1st
and 10 here. Ace Finnick under center here. I spread formation. 3 wide receivers, 2 backs in the backfield. As Finnick is going to hand off, a nice block pickup, but still nowhere to go. Stretching for 1. This Pittsburgh's running back, and man, Lexington so far is keying in on the run game.
Yeah, the front 7 for Lexington, they've been a phenomenal group the entirety of their franchise's history, really. And again, they're just really showing up to start the second half.
Finnick takes a snap, leaves some extra protection in the backfield, tries to get it to Doug Britton, but how about the pass play? Travis Arthur has been really good in his football game.
He absolutely has. I was just about to say, feels like we call his name every couple plays, Mike. I mean, he's either helping in the run in the box, making a nice stop, or he's batting down a pass, and again, just making his mark on the game.
You can hear the crowd getting crazy right now in Lexington, trying to get a 3rd down stop. Finnick, quads look, takes the snap, rolls out to his right, and oh, that was a little bit of a miscommunication, trying to get it to number 80, one of their backup wide receivers. I believe that was Laverius Coles on that. Just a little bit of miscommunication there, and Finnick couldn't connect with him.
You know, and there was a lot of pressure on the back of Finnick. They had an edge rusher coming around the side. Thankfully for him, one of the backs in the backfield was able to pick up the block and buy him just a little bit more time, but it wasn't enough time for one of his receivers to get open. Got bottled up, and you see there they got a punt, giving the ball back into the hands of the Miners, who already have a 7-point lead.
I think a big thing for Pittsburgh moving forward, and we'll talk about whenever they get back on the field offensively, you got to avoid those panic throws for Ace Finnick, right? You got to keep some protection in the backfield if you can. So we're going to see 1st and 10 here for Kenny Slider. Twins look here for Slider. He's got some good protection in the backfield. Fires out to the left side. That's Gabriel Manning with another possession grab. And he is one of the best, if not the best, DJ at possession grabs in this league. One-on-one matchups.
Yep. You
put him up against two players right there. I mean, he will go up and get it.
Yeah, I mean, more often than not, you see him double-teamed in scenarios like that. That's how good he is.
2nd and 4, Kenny Slider. Again, they love these Twins looks. They're going to go outside, a nice block, nearly getting there. Oh, picking up the outside block. Deion James following his blocker out to get the first down. And, man, I continue to be impressed by this run game for Lexington.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was certainly an interesting thing that we were going to look at coming into the game. And I guess we've both been proven, everyone here has been proven that Ian Francis and Deion James will be able to carry the workload.
Again, another Twins look here as they're going to go up the middle, and that time Francis getting bottled up. It's number 32, again, ADS. They're really playing him in the box, DJ, and he's making a lot of big plays.
Yeah, he's been great all throughout his career. You know, playing down in San Jose, helped them get a championship last season, got awarded an award. Whoever made that decision did a fantastic job, I must say. Very good player on his part.
We're going to see Doug Day. Tom Creed going from one side to the other here as they're going to hand it off the middle to Deion James. Picking up 7 there. Really good run, again, from this Lexington offense. They continue to just carry the rock, TJ. And really, what does that do to Kenny Slider, right? It's taking a lot of pressure off of him.
Absolutely.
He's got good receivers. He's not having to use them a lot. We're going to see him use them here. Kenny Slider nearly thrown an interception. And don't look now, but if you believe the commentator's curse, I'm really sorry because that was almost really bad.
It almost was. Thankfully, Kenny Slider able to wipe his brow off, maybe shake that one off, try and regroup next time. That just was not a good ball.
Yeah, at that point, you really just punt it away, play the field position game, go back to the sideline, look at the tape, see what's going on defensively, and come back and recorrect. But this is a big stop for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh getting a stop defensively there on an offense that's been steamrolling all night. And now, so we're going to see Doug Britton break a tackle and getting it up to the 31. We're going to see Pittsburgh get another shot at this, and we very well could be looking at a tied game here in the next few minutes.
And Mike, I'm just waiting for one of these punt returners to break off a big run and take it the other way. Because in my opinion, Doug Britton and Gabriel Manning, they're two of the best in the game at what they do.
A lot of Twins looks for both of these teams offensively here. Split Twins here. Doug Britton, we saw him near miss on that vertical threat earlier. He's going to go in motion from right to the left, and Ace Finnick gets ready to take the snap. They're going to hand off up the middle. That's a great run there from Churchill, picking up 5 yards, and that's what you want, staying ahead of the change. 5 yards is really, really good.
Yeah, and you look at this Lexington roster. We've used the term lifer quite a bit. They have so many of them on this roster. Iggy Turner there helped made that tackle there. Been in the league only 2 seasons, but he stayed loyal to Lexington. He was with him in the minors, joined him in the SFL, and he's made a nice play there.
How about the space here? Number 27, BB Blitz, getting out there and really picking up a first down. I mean, this is interesting. We just saw Pittsburgh out on the field. The last possession to open the third quarter, they weren't able to do anything in the run game, so they come out and they dial up some different looks run-wise, and they establish the run again. That says a lot about the offensive coordinator here. 1st and 10. Ace Finnick under center. We're going to see another handoff up the middle, and the space for Churchill has been wonderful.
Yeah, and you talk about the adjustments made by the coaching in Pittsburgh. We saw that Lexington tried to go back to that same tight end route that they had scored previously on. They adjusted to that. We're seeing them come back out now and adjust their running game. It's a very adjustable crew that can adapt to a defense, and we're seeing that right now.
2nd and 3, trying to get something, make something happen. Oh, he's sacked in the backfield. Ace Finnick is down. Luckily, he gets up, but the pressure from the blind side of Ace Finnick coming around, and Lexington had 2 defenders in the backfield there. Now they're facing a 3rd and 7 here. Coming out in the quads look. The defense is getting riled up. The crowd's getting riled up. Pittsburgh's got to make something happen. Finnick takes the snap. Nice block pickup over the top of the shoulder. Getting it to Deuce Finnick down the left left sideline on a corner route. Wow, you didn't see that one coming.
No, Fennec to Fennec. They haven't thrown many of those deep, in a little while, they really haven't gone for some deep routes like that. They've been a lot more methodical, running it short, passing it short, attacking weak spots. And right there they did. They threw it up one-on-one, and Fennec just made a play, got past the corner, and it was just a one-on-one on the edge, eventually got forced out of bounds.
1st and 10, sending the fullback, who we know is a vertical threat, in motion. Going to roll out to his left. Fennec looking downfield, and he tries to get it back to Wheeler. But Harrison was in coverage and was ready for it. Great job at Lexington's defense.
Yeah, and I think as soon as we saw that fullback move out, we both knew what was going to come. We saw them do that previously, running the seam up the middle with that fullback. They go back to it, and we talk about the adjustments. Lexington not going to let that happen again.
2nd and 10 here, and it seems like everything that Pittsburgh does, Lexington's crowd tries to overrule it with the velocity of their voices. They're going to hand off up the middle, getting it to Churchill, and again, 7 yards seems to be the theme, seems to be the expectation from him.
And on the ground, if you can consistently get 7 yards, I mean, my goodness. What can you do as a defense?
Yeah, that's really, really tough. It's 3rd and 3 here. They're going to go to the right side, and what about the quick throw, recognizing the pressure, getting it to Ben Harrison on the out route, rolling out, and I love this play, DJ. It's a really good play.
Absolutely, and we haven't had to call many tight end names for Pittsburgh up to this point, but now they're utilizing the big body of their tight end in that, 3rd and short scenario to make an aggressive catch in the middle of the defense. A lot of bodies in the area, but if anyone's going to be able to hold on to it in pressure, that's going to be your big tight end.
1st and goal here. Lexington does not want to give up a touchdown. They do not want to let this Pittsburgh team come into their house and tie this game here. 1st and goal as we get ready for the snap from Ace Fennec. A split look. He's going to hand it off up the middle, and that is blocked by the defense. Coming in there is number 95 here, Philadelphia Collins, one of those lifers you were talking about.
Yep, and I mean, they have such a strong core that has stayed together for so long, and they've built themselves up to be able to be a great force in the East, and maybe we're going to see that this season.
2nd and goal, handoff up the middle. He's going down zone. Pittsburgh is coming into the Lexington Miners home and tied the game up near the end of the 3rd quarter.
They did. Mike Churchill breaking off the tackle from the young man, Iggy Turner, and just a tough physical run. That's the Pittsburgh Armada. Tough, physical. Breaks one, and that's all she wrote. I mean, we talked about how good they were in the red zone. If we would have saw another red zone stop from Lexington against this Philadelphia front, I would have been very, very impressed.
And that's a former wide receiver. That's a former wide receiver breaking tackles. In between the tackles. I mean, you would expect a former wide receiver to be really good outside of the tackles, DJ. But he has done all of his work and made his living in between the tackles.
Absolutely.
Really impressive showing from Pittsburgh on that drive there. And suddenly Lexington is quieting down a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of panic here. But Lexington, we've talked about, the offense is really good in clicking here as we're going to get a return out from Francis back there. Getting out to the 21. It's going to be a long field ahead of them. But if they keep the run game, they keep the pass game, and the balance that they've had, I think that they're going to be all right, TJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw them be able to play. With how their offense runs, how well they run the ball, playing ahead should be easy. And I think in the spot they're in, their offense is going to be able to perform just as well.
We're going to see number 88, Marquise Sango, go in motion from right to the left. Slider's going to take the snap. He's got some pressure, fires downfield, and trying to make the one-hand grab. Alexander West couldn't hold on to it. That's number 43 making the play there. Corey Minner really getting up. Long time free safety getting up there and making a play on the ball.
Yeah, the former All-Star getting involved defensively, making a huge stop and shutting down the catch there from Alex West. And Corey Minner, no stranger to playing in that defensive back room, like you said.
2nd and 10. Kenny Slider is going to send a man in motion from the left to the right. That's Chris off there, who's been really good closer to the red zone. Slider going to roll out. Nice block pickup by the grab. How about the grab from Gabriel Mann? And we said he was the best in the business, DJ. There he shows it.
I mean, you talk about how sometimes you need to bring a second man to help on the coverage. Let's get another look at this. 1, 2, on their head.
I think they need a third.
They just might.
Gabriel Manning going up and getting it, putting this Lexington team on his back. He's done it for some time now. And they are nearing the 50, the midfield logo here. As Slider's going to take the snap. Nice little check down to the outside. Really, really like that quick pass and play, DJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Just an extension of the run game, getting your big tight end involved, getting some room on the edge, try and see what he can do. And right there, I mean, I think that's a fantastic play call.
Keeps the defense honest here. 2nd and 6. We're going to get a heavy set here. Looks like a tight triple formation. As they're going to hand it off up the middle, and Deion James with the space to run. He is green pastures in front of him. That's a beautiful, beautiful look there.
Yeah, and the offensive lineman, that's Jasmine Swift, going out there and making a nice block on the first linebacker that would have helped make that tackle. Just gave him so much room to run. The other linebacker, Dimitri Monzuma, who was in coverage further off, had to come back and make the tackle.
Slider taking a snap. Oh, nice little check route here. A little hitch route to Alt there. And, man, he's been so good in the middle of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a 5-yard turnaround, just a little hitch route. That's all you got to do. And you talk about such a big body making that catch. If you're a linebacker or a defensive back behind that, and you have to try and get around his body to slap the ball out, it's just you're not gonna be able to do it.
Hand off to Deion James, and he fumbles the ball. Oh, and it's picked up by DJ Bandit. Pittsburgh could not capitalize on the turnover. And wow, they had 3 defenders near it, but DJ Bandit was the quickest to the draw. And just like that, Lexington dodges a bullet and has a first down here on the 30-yard line.
Near disaster on that mic.
Hand off to Deion James, and Pittsburgh taking the aggression out on him. So they're going to get it up the middle, and that looks like number 96, Bubba Bruiser, coming in and laying the hit on the running back.
Yeah, big Bubba Bruiser. Last time we called his name, he was tackling the quarterback without the ball. Now he's did we talk about that aggressiveness?
We did. That's the Pittsburgh way, it seems like.
I love it.
2nd and 10 here. Slider taking the snap. He's got some extra protection back there, but nearly missing it. Takes the ball himself and runs up. And how about Slider showing off a little bit of the finesse there for 4 yards? And whew, that could have been disastrous, DJ.
Yeah, and you'd like to see him be able to get the ball out and find someone open, because his offensive line did give him a lot of time. He had 4 or 5 seconds to be able to look for a target and find the ball, but just no one got open. So you got to take that, scramble away, try and get what you can.
And we have reached the 4th quarter. Put your 4s up now. Come on now, put your 4s up here at the convention. We are live at the convention in Baltimore, and we've got a great one right now. The Pennsylvania Showdown is tied at 17 all. Lexington driving, trying to make a difference here. Slider taking the snap, rolling out to his right side, fires deep downfield and nearly intercepted. Jermaine Minifield nearly had that grab.
Jermaine Minifield so close to an interception, and just a second away from Doug Day getting that sack on the edge. They brought him on that left side of the offensive line around the edge, and Kenny Slider got that ball off a millisecond. He was still thrown into the ground. But thankfully for them, he didn't have the ball in his hand, because that would have knocked him out of field goal range.
A big stop there for Pittsburgh as the kick is good. The Miners are taking a 3-point lead here in the 4th quarter. A great kick there by Takeda Yuki.
When you look at that drive, 10 plays and just under 3 minutes taken off the clock. It's just such a methodical attack.
4th quarter here, and man, I gotta tell you, DJ, this has been a really, really good game. It's living up to expectations. Pittsburgh has an opportunity now. They have an opportunity to come back here. If they get a touchdown, DJ, they're in the lead in the 4th quarter, and we know how physical that defense can be. Can they lock in? Can their offense drive downfield here?
Mike, we talked about how last season Lexington lost this game 23-20.
Oh,
we're looking pretty close to that score.
It's okay. Commentator curse, DJ. Pipe it down. Pipe it down. All right, 1st and 10 here. Ace Phoenix sending Doug Britton in motion, and man, how We nearly saw a big play from Doug Britton earlier. Do we see that again? We're going to go play action. Finnick firing downfield, and it's Travis over with a call. The ball right, he's taking it all the way back. It's in it for 6. How about the pick 6? Lexington putting on for the home crowd.
Looking like a wide receiver out there. We've called his name so many times, and finally getting one to go his way. He dips and he dives through the offensive players going back the other way. Just leads the pass a little bit too far. And look at the blocking coming the other way from those big defensive linemen.
Unbelievable job. Travis Arthur really putting on a show for the home crowd here. And that was unbelievable. DJ, you talk about the fact that a lot of pick sixes, you see house calls on the sideline or down the sideline, but how about navigating? He looked like almost like a running back out there navigating between people.
He did. It was impressive. They got to get him out there in the slot sometime, see what he can do.
And we're going to have an application here for offensive wide receiver. And my voice is on its way out just like the convention is closing up.
Oh, so sad.
It's a sad thing to see it go, but man, it has been a blast here this weekend. And Pittsburgh taking the check back here in the end zone, and Pittsburgh's offense has got to get something going here, right? It's 27-17, but it's only a 10-point game, right? This is a 2-score possession. Pittsburgh's offense has really shown that they can move the ball downfield. They just have to settle in, right? Don't let any nerves get in the way. Ace Finnick, they've got some veterans. They've got to deliver downfield. Finnick up the middle, handing it off, and that's going to be Churchill with a gain of 3, which kind of seems very small for his runs tonight.
You know, I think if you're Pittsburgh, you got to maybe try and lead away from the play action. You're giving Lexington so much time to get into your backfield, which is then pressuring Finnick, which is then leading to those ill-advised throws and those overthrown balls that, like we just saw, leads to a touchdown the other way.
2nd and 7 here. Man goes in motion. That's going to be Ben Harrison stretched out wide. They're going to hand it off up the middle. It's BB Blitz with a gain of 2. And this is a 3rd and 5. It's a situation you really don't want to be in. And it's one of those, though, where the playbook is open, right? 3rd and 5. You could kind of do a little bit of what you need to, because they've been averaging over 6 yards a carry.
I imagine they might try and go back to that play action. You just got to make sure Lexington doesn't get too far into your backfield too quickly.
Play action, roll out to the left. How about the block pickup? Firing downfield, and Iggy Ronick wide open. We haven't called his name in a couple quarters, DJ.
Yeah, and just a nice catch around the sideline. You see the block coming back. The offensive lineman made his way back to the play, and it was looking scary there for a second. One of the edge rushers was starting to get really close to Finnick back in the backfield, but
saw a squirrel.
Yeah, he did.
1st and 10 here. Pittsburgh trying to make something happen. We do see a little bit of an audible here for Lexington's defense. Finnick hands off up the middle, and how about the space for BB Blitz up the middle for 7 or 8 yards, making it a 2nd and 2.
You know, and one thing we got to talk about with this game, both of these offensive line units have been looking pretty stout. Really, the only time Lexington's getting into the backfield is when Pittsburgh runs those play-action sets, and you can only block a guy for so long before they get off.
Nice spin move there from Churchill, but not enough. As number 21 comes in and hammers it home for a 1-yard pickup. It's Nate Heslep coming in and making the play. 3rd and 1 situation here.
Yeah.
Ace Finnick's got to make something happen. 3rd and 1. They need to convert. They've got to get points, even if it's just a field goal. Handing off up the middle, and they do have the first down the sideline. Mike Churchill, put some respect on your name. Picking up a nice first down in a crucial moment.
Yeah, you got a band of defenders there chasing you down. That's exactly what you want to look for. You had Marco Swift, who had to come back from his coverage all the way across from the formation, chase him back down to help make the tackle.
How about the hurdle over Tony Roberto?
Oh, my. That's a big hurdle.
Yeah, it's impressive.
That's a big speed bump there.
Yeah, there you go. 1st and 10. Ace Finnick trying to make something happen here in Lexington. He's going to toss it out, and whoa, blown up in the backfield. 95 gets in there and makes something happen. Philadelphia Collins has been really good at getting into the backfield.
Yeah, absolutely has. He is no stranger to living into the backfield. Had 15 tackles for loss last season. Wasn't able to put up a sack, but as your inside linebacker, stopping the run, that is your goal.
2nd and 13. This crowd is getting very noisy again. Ace Pennick's got to keep a clear head. Fires downfield, and how about Doug Britton showing up in the moment that he needs to? 1st and goal. Pittsburgh Riverhogs are knocking on the door of the end zone.
Yeah, very nice post route to open that up in the middle of the field. Made a nice catch in coverage. And, he goes just right from that. He was on the tight end spot there. He just runs a seam right up the middle. And you have the free safety in coverage there. Or the strong safety, excuse me. That was Marco Swift, unable to get in front of the ball at all and make a catch. And from there, you just got to try and stop him from getting in the end zone.
1st and goal. Ace Pennick trying to put the team on his back here. Do they hand it off? They've got a stacked box. The definition of a stacked box is Lexington. So we're going to see Ziggy Ronick on an island, one-on-one with Cameron Shaw at the top of your screen. They are going to go play action. Fires across the middle, and tipped up. That is a dangerous game, DJ, trying to throw the ball into the middle of the field with 8 defenders.
And not only that, Mike, I think a play action that close to the goal line with 9 men in the box, they're bringing pressure. You can't get away with that. Eventually, that's going to happen. Someone's going to get in the way, or your quarterback is going to take a big hit.
2nd and goal. Similar look here. They're going to go run this time and blown up in the backfield. Philadelphia Collins again with a tackle for loss in a crucial moment.
I don't know about you, Mike, but Pittsburgh right now, what I'd love to see is maybe just a quick pass off the edge in one of those 2 coverages. Now it's looking completely different.
A little bit different of a look here. Shotgun formation. Ace Pennick got him back in the backfield. He's got to get the ball out quick. Fires to the left side. Doug Britton with the grab in the end zone. That's going to be pass interference, and they're going to decline that. Pittsburgh is putting points on the board. That is a touchdown.
Wow, Iggy Turner getting a little physical in coverage there, but he says it doesn't matter. Makes the catch with the pass interference. Oh my goodness, what a play.
Unbelievable. Ace Pennick really delivering. Doug Britton showed up late in the stretch there. He was very quiet this whole game, DJ.
Yeah.
Shows up when his team needs him. We're looking at a 3-point ball game with 5 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
Lexington getting the ball back. What's the mindset here, DJ? If you're taking over, Kenny Slider, what's the mindset? Are you just trying to run the ball? I mean, they've been really good running the ball. You're just trying to grind that clock out.
Absolutely. I mean, with how dominant your run attack has been, I think you have to keep it going. Maybe a pass if it comes to a 3rd and long scenario. Other than that, you have to keep the ball on the ground. Let Deion James and Ian Francis done what they do the entire game.
So they're going to get the ball from the 24-yard line. Gabriel Manning takes it out of the end zone. A little risky, but I like the confidence, right? I mean, you've been doing it as long as he has.
I won't question him. He knows what he's doing.
I would say so. 1st and 10. Kenny Slider. Let's talk about Kenny Slider and how good he's been. Because he's been really good tonight, right?
He's been balling.
If the game comes down to it, he has to make something happen with his arms. You got to think this coaching staff trusts him.
Yeah, they absolutely do. We know they do.
1st and 10 here. Slider under center. We got a spread formation, 2 wide receivers to his left and 1 to his right. That's number 19 going in motion from left to right. It's going to be a nice handoff for Deion James, and how about the run for Deion James? He's really made a name for himself today.
Yeah, I mean, just bouncing off defenders like a pinball. Let's get a better look at it here. Yeah, and just some hard hitting football right now. I mean, it's the physicality. They're getting a rivalry going. This is the type of aggression you want to see. And with the game Deion James is having right now, has pushed him well over 1,000 yards in his career.
Unbelievable job. Split spread look, handoff up the middle. Ian Francis showing a little bit of pizzazz himself.
Yep. Deion James, with that last run getting up to 100. Ian Francis has been doing it very well. I mean, you see how much room he has to run. The offensive line is looking like an all-star unit right now, Mike.
Absolutely. This is a very, very close game, a very good game we're looking at right now. 1st and 10 here. Twins look, which we've seen a lot of tonight. And Slider's going to take the snap, fire across the middle, and gets it to his receiver. I believe that's Chris Alt there. And it is the tight end. It's a 2nd and 6 approaching, and that clock has continued to run.
That's what you got to keep that going if you're Lexington, as long as you can.
Toss out to the left side, Deion James, and this time Pittsburgh says no can do, blowing it up in the backfield. 3rd and 5 here. This is a massive moment, DJ. A big 3rd down for this Pittsburgh defense. The clock is ticking right now. You're nearing 3 minutes left. They've got to get off the field and give their offense time to work.
Yeah, this is one of the most important plays of the entire game.
Slider taking the snap. He's got room. He's going to take it himself, and how a conversion. Taking the hit, though, before he can slide, and that's a 1st down. It's not over yet. No panic yet. Still moving the chains, but really good job there by Slider to recognize. And how about the route concepts? Sending him deep, giving him room to really make that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, like you said, that is a very veteran decision. You know all your routes are going deep downfield. You see 4 defensive linemen. With how well your offensive lineman has been blocking, you see 2 of them on your back. Why not take off? And that's well past the yard to gain.
Handoff up the middle. Deion James again, 5 yards. Pittsburgh needs to stack the box.
They do.
They need to stack the box quickly, DJ.
They do. Yeah, you got to bring some more bodies in there. Maybe bring Amante Dubois-Smith down into the box. Bring another safety down into the box, just because you know what they want to do. You know they want to keep chewing the clock out, and here we go. Now we're getting a 4-3 from Pittsburgh. That might help a little bit.
2nd and 5. They do have extra blockers on the line, though. Ian Francis, and how about the tackle in the backfield? That's Odette Boudreau coming in and making a big play on the ball.
6'6", 340, Mike. I don't know about you. That is not someone I want to see in a Baltimore back alley.
That's so true. 3rd and 7 here. Spread formation. 3 wide receivers. They've got to get off the field. Pittsburgh's got to make something happen. We're seeing a little bit of a pass off right there, and it looks like Alexander West is going to be matched up against number 24, Ness Ginkel, who did have the DPIs you can't give up on now. Firing downfield and Gabriel Manning making a play. It's a 1st and goal for Lexington. Pittsburgh needs an answer fast.
Yep, they absolutely do. And, you know, we called that Ness Ginkel was going on a different receiver, and now we see the coverage switch. You got a different person guarding Gabriel Manning in that spot. Todd Rigsby was the one closest in coverage when that catch was made.
So we've reached the 2-minute warning, DJ, and it's a 3-point ball game. Lexington is in the red zone. Pittsburgh has got to make a stop. Can they show up in the red zone defense and keep Lexington to a 6-point lead with a field goal? As Kenny Slider awaits the snap, he's going to motion out a tight end. And how about the room to run out there? Deion James trying to get into the end zone, and then it's tackled before he gets there. And we're going to see our first time out here, DJ.
Yeah, Kane Vasquez. I mean, you know, the strong safety coming down to help with the run. You're not always going to make the tackle, especially on a guy like Deion James. He's a lot bigger and he is a lot stronger than the average back you're going to see.
Here we go. Kenny Slider awaiting the snap. They're going to toss it out to the left side, and no, it's going to Lexington piling it on. Deion James, for a stellar performance, is piling it on, and everybody's going to look at him completely different after this game, DJ.
Absolutely, and you look at last season, Mike only had 2 touchdowns, has already half of that on the season, dives over the yard, and my goodness, I mean, what a play. I mean, you just go down the field, you know what you want to do. You want to chew the clock. You do it the entire length of the field. You continue to run. I mean, you know, we talk about how good Pittsburgh is at running in the red zone. Lexington really, really showing up in that regard.
Stretching it back to a 10-point lead as Takeda Yuki knocks that through. Stretching it back to a 10-point lead, DJ. 1 minute and 53 seconds. That's a lot of time when you've got timeouts, right? You've still got 2 timeouts. You can drive down the field. It's not like they don't have the playmakers. If we're looking at their offense, I mean, we've seen Keith Wheeler, even the fullback, making grabs downfield. But Doug Britton, we saw that pass earlier that could have been, as we're going to get a return here as Doug Britton gets it out to the 28-yard line. It's where Ace Finnick's going to take over. We saw the near connection of Ace Finnick to Doug Britton downfield. We saw how good Doug Britton was down the stretch in that last drive. Deuce Finnick, Ziggy Rawlings, both of these guys have been really good tonight, right? They've got players. Ben Harrison, has a couple grabs. They have receiving threats. The question is, do they have the tempo to dial those type of passing plays up quickly and deliver on those in a way that can get them downfield close enough with enough time to be able to get back the ball on an onside and do it again.
Yeah.
First and 10 here, Quads look. Ace Finnick downfield and broken up. Trying to get the Ziggy Roenick, and it was one-on-one coverage, but the defender made a really good play on it.
Yeah, and that's worked plenty of times for them throughout the game, and I don't hate the look. You're going to one of your best targets and one-on-one coverage. I mean, when you get a look like that, you got to try and take advantage of it.
Ace Finnick's been pretty good throwing the football tonight. Bunch set to his right. Second and 10 here. Finnick takes the snap. They're sending pressure. He's going to check it out to the sideline. Doug Britton making a man miss, getting it from the sideline, and wonderful play there. They don't have to use a timeout because Doug Britton ran out of bounds.
Yeah. And, they brought a lot of pressure up the middle. Everyone who was playing in the middle of the field seemed to be brought down into the box and blitzed at the quarterback. And with the play they had designed up, they didn't need that much time at all. It took 1 second for him to have the ball, make that connection, and the wide receivers on the edge just had to make the blocks, which they did.
How about Ziggy Roenick coming back to make that block to seal that off?
You love that effort.
Absolutely, out of a wide receiver. A bunch set again, and just worked for him. First and 10 here. Ace Finnick's got to make something happen. He's going to roll out to his right. They leave an extra back there, and how about, he drops it. Oh, God, he got the grab and dropped it. 44 came in there and really put some respect on his own name, Iggy Turner.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough catch to make. You're jumping midair, one-handed. You're trying to catch it while the big linebacker's shoulder is getting pushed into your chest. I mean, that's going to be tough.
Second and 10. Quads look for Ace Finnick. Can they come back and get a win for Pittsburgh? Fires downfield and a couple people. Cameron Shaw. He's got to grab that one. He's going to be pretty ticked watching that one back in replay.
Yeah, absolutely. Marco Swift and Cam Shaw, they look like a volleyball duo, batting it up to each other and eventually hit the turf. Wrong sport, but they would have had a point.
Third and 10 here. Quads look. Ace Finnick. He's got to get something going. This Pittsburgh offense needs life. Finnick's got a clean pocket, and the separation. Ziggy Roenick downfield, and we get another timeout. They're getting close, though. It was a great play to start them off.
Absolutely. J-Rock, I mean, again, it's another example of great coverage. Just he's one of your top guys at your receiver spot. You expect him to make those catches more often than not, and maybe we're going to see that tempo you talked about start to come into fruition.
They got to get the ball off here, and they will. Ace Finnick, it was a tight coverage trying to get Doug Britton on a corner out there, but really well covered by the defense.
Yep, J-Rock that time, getting one back. Nice coverage again there on Britton. Just no room at all to try and make the catch. It was completely blanketed on him.
It does stop the clock, though, and that is good. Second and 10. This time we get a trips look for Pittsburgh. Ace Finnick under center. He does have a back in the backfield. Another on front. He's got pressure. He fires it. How about the drop in the bucket? Ziggy Roenick again. 2 grabs on this drive.
And we got the big linebacker in the middle trying to jump up and bat that one down. But they're not defensive backs. They don't got hops like that. And you just, like you said, a drop in the bucket, throwing it right over that first level, but close enough to where that second level safety isn't able to make a play.
Officially in the red zone. Ace Finnick takes the snap into the pocket. Nearly grabbing that, but the coverage was really, really, really tight. Great play there by Iggy Turner again.
3 points is good enough right now. But of course, if you're Pittsburgh, you want to see a touchdown, because going the other way, you feel a lot more cool, a lot more calm, a lot more collected.
Minute 12 left. Second and 10 here. 3 wide receivers. 1 on the line here. That is Ziggy Roenick moving off the line to the left side of Ace Finnick. Can this be a little bit of a mismatch for the defense? Ace Finnick takes the snap. He's got a clean pocket, fires downfield. Overthrown, trying to get it to Ziggy, again, who's been so good on this drive.
And one thing we're still seeing from Lexington is they're still bringing pressure. Their linebackers are still shooting gaps, and they're still trying to get to the quarterback. And right now, the Pittsburgh offensive line down this stretch is giving Finnick plenty of time to make these contested throws, but it's leaving everyone in one-on-one man coverage, which may be risky.
speaking of coverage here, we've got a little bit of a zone shift here as Doug Britton goes in motion. Finnick takes the snap, rolls out to his left, gets it to Ronick, but it's 2 yards shy, and you got to keep the momentum going. You got to get on the ball quickly. They've got to get things moving here a little bit faster if they want to make things. And they're going to step up and take the field goal first. Give them time to get the offense or the onside kick, and then drive downfield again. Right? So go ahead and take the points, which is fine. Creating a 7-point difference here. They can get downfield and try and make something happen. 46 seconds is a little tight squeeze, right? But you have enough time, especially if you're targeting the sidelines, DJ, to be able to make something happen.
And I mean, earlier this convention weekend, we saw an onside kick return. Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. 46 seconds left in the Pennsylvania showdown. And we're going to get an onside kick, and that's recovered by Lexington. Lexington is going to bring it home. The Pennsylvania showdown is theirs for this season. Pittsburgh is going home with a loss here. Lexington able to run the clock out here, and DJ, give us your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is the second time these teams have ever met. We talked about last season's game a little bit. This matchup looking completely in Lexington's favor. Coming down the wire, you know, it kind of looked like Pittsburgh's offense was just struggling a little bit to get things going. It seemed like the closer they got to the red zone, the more pressure, the tighter Lexington's defense got. It just made them just a little bit nervous down the stretch, and you know, that makes the series even 500, 1-1.
1-1, and we won't get another one until next season. And I'll tell you what, looking at both of these teams, I do want to say week one is always it's always thrown up in the air, right? But let's look at these two teams, because both of these teams, right, who had a lot of question marks on them last season, came out and really performed well tonight. Both teams really played well.
They did. Yeah, we saw things get proved from both sides of the ball, and you know, Lexington's rushing attack, they really showed up. I mean, really.
That's gonna do it for here. As I'm Mike O'Neill, we got DJ Kilgannon. DJ, final thoughts on the game for the Pennsylvania showdown as Lexington takes the cake 34-27.
You know, like I said, the rushing attack looked so good, a lot better than a lot of people expected, myself included. And their defense bringing so much pressure. It seemed like there was a defensive lineman in the backfield every single play.
Absolutely, and I think both of these teams have so much to look forward to. There's a lot of excitement in both of these organizations. It's only one game. 0-1 start is maybe not favorable, but there's plenty of season left, and you have plenty of time, and I think there's a lot of good things to take away. For myself, my name is Mike O'Neill, DJ Kilgannon alongside me. DJ, it was such a pleasure to call this game with you, man, as we're live here in Baltimore, and we're closing out the convention weekend. One final thing I want to say, if you have not been to a convention, make it a point. Come to the convention, get to meet everybody, put faces to names, really create this community that we're building on, and it is a blast. I want to give a thanks to everybody, Cameron Irvine, Mike Daggs, everybody involved in planning this weekend. This convention has been excellent. It's been a really great time, and I cannot wait for next season.
Absolutely.
That's going to do it for us. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.